mine, which was with RV Group, and RV is known for its engineering and uh, educational capabilities. After then, it got started. Then I got involved with Jain Group, the Jain University, JGI Group. So I was the head for JGI Ventures. We started doing a lot of things. We started doing even revamping the university's curriculum, bringing in entrepreneurial activities as integral part of it, and so on. Like, it was way back now. If I look back, it was almost 10 years ago when we started doing such kind of things. And then I invested in a couple of companies during 2015 to 2019. And 2019 onwards, COVID has actually taken a toll. And I was assisting a lot of companies, and the Global Accelerator for Innovation Network was again one of the things where I was the CEO and I was heading it. And I got infected with COVID and stepped down, came back in the scenario, assisted Vedanta and Foxconn's deal of semiconductors. So I was a champion of semiconductor fab for them. So after that, we reached to, KDM has asked, because KDM was again Karnataka Digital Economy Mission I'm talking about, where I'm currently taking pride in, assisting them. So I was part of that concept, and then I was asked that if I could really bring my expertise to
Wonderful.
the table. So all these things have happened, but it was a journey. So nothing which really I can say that, hey, it is an achievement or it was achieved by me. It is just a journey. So what we are going to talk today, Ashu, I think we have already discussed, and Anuragji has already updated. So we are going to discuss about, what would be the international markets for these startups, because I have expertise in that, as well as what is the ease of doing business in such kind of markets. So
Sure.
over to you. Yeah. So yes, Anurag, please. Sorry. Yes, Ashuji, please carry on.
So, Vivek, I'd love to, talk a little about, the work that you're doing in Kirin, right, in the semiconductor industry, right? I think there's a debate going on, right? I mean, I think there's been an over dependence in China. I think, every country sort of trying to build in its own, mechanics. I think India wants to definitely be the largest sort of supplier. I think we've seen. A lot of movement, right? I mean, Vedanta, you kind of spoke about, right? I think, but then we've seen interest not just from Vedanta, but many other sort of large corporates, right? Tata's have been interested, right? We've been seeing a lot of development on that front, right? I'd love to understand a little more about that in terms of what's happening on that front before we move on to talk about, international business, the opportunities that are there for startups from India.
Yeah.
Would love you to throw some light on that.
Actually, after this ISM's announcement, that is India Semiconductor Mission's announcement of policies in January this year, a lot of companies have jumped into it, and they wanted to make maximum out of whatever government has already proposed.
Mm-hmm.
So one company we have already landed up here in Karnataka, in Bangalore, near to Bangalore, Mysuru. So Mysuru is the cluster under KDM. So Karnataka Digital Economy Mission, we call it as KDM in short. So I'll be using this abbreviation quite a lot. So there we have a facility, full-fledged facility, where we have allocated land to become to make it as an electronic cluster. And ISM has already directed that they are going to give some good incentives, as well as Karnataka government is also going to give over and above some incentives what central government is giving. So another company, which is they have already signed MOU with the government of Karnataka. They have already got the government order, and they are going to produce analog semiconductor wafers over here in Mysuru. So first semicon fab has been grounded by Karnataka government in Karnataka in Mysuru. Okay, so about Tata, you said something. So Tata is actually contemplating, because Raja Marikam happens to be a good friend of mine, and they have announced their entry through OSAT. So OSAT is outsourced semiconductor packaging and assembly and testing. Sorry, so that was OSAT. So OSAT they have already announced. Of late, just 3 days ago, there was some news which was taking place, and Tata has already expressed that okay, they want to get into some semiconductor.
Hmm.
What everybody is waiting for, that let there be someone who can take the lead, and then after they'll jump in. Because what happened here when this international consortium of semiconductor with Tower Semiconductor of Israel, they
Hmm.
announced their things here in Karnataka. Now Geo has become a party to it, and HCL has become a party to it.
All large corporates are kind of.
So yeah, so everybody's waiting that okay, let there be the something where the all the groundwork has to be done by someone else, and
Hmm.
then after they can take advantage of that. So it's going
Sure.
to be a very interesting thing, and display fab is next, which is going to be the call of the hour. So this is all about what we are having right now.
Super, super. I think thank you for the quick round of pick. We got to more move into talking more about the topic for the day, right? Which is essentially around international markets right now. Now, I think what we're kind of seeing in the current markets, right, is that exports, for example, have and this is largely more global, right? Because what's going on right now, our exports are not necessarily doing very good, right? Uh, but when you look at international markets, these are markets that have done phenomenally well. I think every developing country, I mean, the good part about India is that we have a very large audience. Just the possibility of internal or inward consumption is very very high, right? But exports is something which is continuously required, right? At the balance of payments, like a variety of macroeconomic factors, right, which makes it very very important. Plus job creation, right, which is very very critical and a key priority for us as a country, right? What's your sense of it? What do you make out of the possibility of international markets, right? We've largely been focused on IT, yes. There's little work which has happened on textiles. When you look at international markets, it's a very, very large play, right? When you talk about the startup ecosystem, we have, you have technology players, we have SaaS players, enterprise tech. Deep tech, for example, is doing fairly well. We have D2C also, which is kind of come up very well, right? I think two things that I would want you to address. One is protectionism. I think because we're seeing some bit of that. And second is that the world is not in the perfect order at this point in time, right? There's a lot of disturbance that we're seeing, right? There's a lot of geopolitical risks, for example, that businesses today have to assess, right? Startups are not necessarily in a position to understand all of that very, very clearly, right? So early on, they get that, get that headroom to sort of grow, but this is not something which becomes a very large contributor, right, over a period of time. What's your sense of it? How do you see that?
Yeah, if I go by the current situation, which is prevailing due to so many geopolitical issues, and uh, I feel sometimes when I talk to my colleagues, when I talk to the industry, when I go for any kind of forums, I'm quite vocal about it because when we were coming out of COVID things and we were just on the right path of recovery, all these things have started taking place where uh, the geopolitical situation has compelled us not to look into many other options, but to have whatever we have, right? So, uh, in the current situation, this is the right time to get in touch with the prospects, but don't think about having that exports thing to be done right now in many areas uh, because the demand and supply rule applies over there. Now,
Mm-hmm.
demand is more towards something which is life-saving, which is needed, which is not a luxury. Like in Germany, so I'm having a couple of my relatives as well as my son is there in Germany. So I know that what is the kind of crisis going on, how the inflation is really going
Sure.
to make such kind of things bad, further bad. But still, there are certain areas where they look for some kind of innovative things. I mean, if we go to Sweden, Stockholm is working on the quality of water,
Right.
which is unheard, right? So, which is
Mm-hmm.
unheard other than US, because US in Bay Area, it was very much common that hey, how to make use of the ocean water and how to
Right.
really do it. But Sweden
Right.
has got a different kind of problem. The water has got a lot of arsenic content in it.
Right.
So people are working to solve that kind of problem. So
Mm-hmm.
such kind of things are still in. If somebody is working on sequences,
Hmm.
then people are still interested.
Hmm.
Research, people are still interested if something is scientifically proven, and then you can take it to that particular thing. But
Sure.
when you come to simply export of say commodities,
Hmm.
so commodities are being already taken care, and it's
Sure.
uninterrupted channel which is already happening. If you go by what is there in China plus one strategy,
Hmm.
which word is talking about, then it comes to many things which will boil down to your raw material, which will boil
Hmm.
down to your electronics, which will
Sure.
come down to certain other areas. But
Hmm.
to really replace such kind of things immediately, where you have been dependent on China's supplies, even India was very much dependent, and still people are struggling because they don't get
Sure.
epoxy, they don't get so many other things.
Hmm.
So it's still a challenging market. I would not
Hmm.
say that tough, but yeah, challenging. You have to have the right kind of contacts because everybody wants to make quick money. So
Hmm.
conmans are there. So there are a lot of people, those who can really want to tell you that, okay, I'll get you all the approvals and everything, and I'll get it done. So if somebody has to really do such kind of things, then they have to go through some proper route. If startups are trying to do that, then I would suggest that they should go through either KDM, like in Karnataka. MP
Sure.
government must be having something where
All
they
state
can,
governments are.
yeah,
Plus, I think Startup India, Stand Up India, I think they've
Startup
been very
India
good
and
in that.
Invest India route, so that they can go through embassies, or they can go through certain other routes. So
Sure.
that is a scenario, but in the current scenario, they can be prepared because it is going to last for another 2 quarters or 3 quarters at least. That is what I'm saying. Or if
Sure.
it is going to be stretched for 4 quarters, it's not a kind of a surprise to us. But after 4 quarters, if they have done enough homework, they can go. And now the scenario will be completely changed. What we are going to talk about, the ease of doing business, that
Sure.
is going to be either much easier in certain countries, or they are going to be much stricter in their
Right.
rules and law of land. So these are the things which are going to take place in near future, what we conceptualize, right? Yeah.
Interesting point, Vivek. Vivek, I'm gonna talk to you about. I'm gonna take a step back, right? Now, I think a lot of what you are, for example, alluding to, right? When we talk of Sweden, when we talk about say arsenic-related problems, Israel has been very actively working on this, right? I mean, so there are many countries, which are continuing to sort of say, for example, deal with water-related issues, right? And this is just one such example, right? I mean, I would love you to give you a slightly more macro answer on this one, right? But typically what happens is, Vivek, for a lot of innovation which is happening, say within India or any other country for that matter, right? Now, the ground level problems are very, very different, right? In a different country, right? You cannot have, solution that you built for here and then just plug and play, within that economy, right? It's not necessarily very SaaS-like in that sense, right? It's not a very micro problem. You have to have that, on ground, say handshakes, awareness, something that you kind of mentioned of, right? But I think it also requires for a lot of trying and trials and testing. Each region has a certain protocol when it comes to say health related concerns, issues. There are administrative bodies, and it's a complex environment, right? International business is easier said than done, right? And like you said, the biggest of all problems is the discrepancies that continue to exist, largely because of these middlemen in the process, right? What do you suggest? Now, my question is that innovation is something. While of course we continue to talk of innovation, we continue to celebrate innovation. The bigger problem is that there is less capital which is available for such, say, such, for example, say modulation that you need to do, or when you're on ground, right? This calls for a very different kind of a support, right? Typically, a financial investor comes in at a stage where the business is, there's visibility in the path, right? What's your sense of it? How do you see this as a problem when you're trying to enter international markets, right? Tech, I understand there is little work that you need to do. Well, I think this is more macro than that, right? I think the opportunity that we're talking about is much larger than that, right? What's your sense of it, right? I mean, how do, for example, say, I mean, and I'd love your comments here on a policy level, right? In terms of, while of course this connectivity is kind of being taken care of, right? At a policy level, what can possibly be done to ensure that there is more success we see and more collaboration that we see? What's your sense?
Yeah. So the geopolitical situation, yes, we are all aware about. Policies if I go by whatever is there,
Mhm.
uh, though Karnataka Digital Economy Mission is more about by industry and for industry. Since
Sure.
the constitution is like that, where 51% stake of this Section 8 company is being held by the industry,
Sure.
and 49% is there with the government. So, and all of us, those who are here, they are not from government. They are all from industry. So we
Sure.
have been there, we have done that, and we have seen those kind of things. So we carry our experience. For our when I'm talking about KDM is very much focused on development of Karnataka. But
Mhm.
when one state is going to take some lead, other
Sure.
states are going to follow, and then the entire nation's GDP is going to be on the higher side.
Sure.
So KDM has got now I'm talking about KDM's model so that you can just extrapolate it and then you can understand that what does it mean.
Sure.
So KDM has got three verticals basically. So one is which is totally focused on talent acceleration, because whenever they are going to be different kind of industries, the resources are needed. So talent
Sure.
acceleration is one.
Sure.
Second one is our electronic system design and manufacturing, ESDM,
Mhm.
which I'm leading. I'm leading actually three verticals, but yeah. So this is one vertical which is my forte. Third
Mhm.
one is IT, BPM, and GCC.
Mhm.
So we are trying to mobilize something under Beyond Bangalore, where we can decongest Bangalore and we can just take the companies to the outskirts of Bangalore, where we have already earmarked these clusters.
Mhm.
So GCCs are global capability centers or
Mhm.
global competency centers. So these things are really happening, and they need resources locally. So we are
Sure.
trying to provide the employment. So I'm just coming to your point. I'm just giving you the background so that everybody should be aware that what
Sure.
exactly how we have woven the whole fabric, right?
Mhm.
So then the third one is IT, BPM, and GCC. I've talked about. Then we come to startup and innovation. So startup and innovation is a big vertical under KDEM. So
Uh-huh.
startup and innovation has got that kind of thing, and which is again, these are the verticals, and then we have a horizontal layer which is called beyond Bangalore. So if somebody wants to come in some other areas, then they are having more incentives. If they want to do something here in Bangalore, then there is something which is less incentivized by
Sure.
the government. So here, startup and innovation, what they are doing, they are having a spoke shore kind of approach where
Mhm.
a lot of accelerator, a lot of investors are being brought in
Mhm.
by the efforts of my and KDM's team, and we are bringing all such kind of people on board.
Mhm.
Here, they are just trying to solve the problem on the basis of qualifying criteria. Since I have already handled Global Accelerator and JJ Ventures, so the experience is there that which all are to be selected for such kind of capital needs, because we are talking
Sure.
about capital. So how this capital has to be provided,
Mhm.
who all are qualifying for that, and
Mhm.
what are the various parameters on which they have tested their product. If they have that kind of proper market fitment,
Mhm.
then definitely there is some investor who is sitting there and who is going to help them.
Mhm.
It's a big pool of investors, and it's a big pool of accelerator and incubator together. Startup India is working closely with us. We have the guy who is heading this vertical. He is an ex Invest India guy who was
Mhm.
heading, who started Invest India actually. Deepak
Mhm.
Bagla came late, and he was the first one who started that. So his name is Siddharth Anand. So he
Mhm.
is there. So such kind of team is there who is working day in, day out. Apart from this is for domestic thing. And apart from this, if we are talking about international fitment,
Mhm.
so international fitment is very much categorized. Like, as I said, that Sweden is looking for something else,
Mhm.
Switzerland is looking for something else, Germany is looking for something else.
Mhm.
Uh, if I go to even Poland, I was talking to a guy from Poland just 3 days ago. Then Israel is looking for three different things:
Mhm.
agree, education, technology. Right. So
Sure.
these things are there in Israel. Then I'm having very good inroads with Mass Challenge from Boston. So Mass Challenge people, they are having some different thing. MIT Sloan has got different thing.
Sure.
Mind the Bridge in Valley, so Bay Area, they are looking for some different thing. So here, my take, coming to your question directly now. So my take on this is for international things, first of all, whether you have that product ready for that market,
Mhm.
right? If it is ready, then what should be your vehicle? Not only through Invest India, but other not-for-profit accelerators are there. Like in
Mhm.
Germany, we have Berlin Partners, we have NPAC.
Sure.
In US we have Mass Challenge. So Mass Challenge is a not-for-profit. So such kind of even Swedish India business corridor, which is there in
Mhm.
Stockholm. So
Mhm.
such kind of things are really going to work for them to test
Mhm.
their product whether they have the market fitment. In Korea, we have a lot of ties. So Korea is
Mhm.
also one of the biggest partner with us. So and when I'm saying us, it is not only KDM, it is before KDM. When I was not there with KDM for the last 4 5 years, I'm moving such kind of things in the international markets. And Australia, I was one of the managing partner of one of the companies called One Lens. They were into
Mhm.
financial instruments and all. So fitment is one thing which startup should be aware about. Like
Mhm.
tomorrow when you are going to pitch in front of someone, and then the people are suggesting you that what is to be done, it is not good. You have to be done with your homework first.
Mhm.
Second is whether you have the capital which you want to take with you and you want to infuse. If not, then what are the various options? So various options are there are certain investors, those who are based out of Singapore.
Mhm.
So Singapore-based investors, they are interested in investing into international locations.
Mhm.
That is one option. Why Singapore? Because they have different laws as compared to India. India has got a very different law. Even if Indian VC has to invest into a foreign company, they cannot invest more than 20% of their total fund size. So all those kind of things are there.
Mhm.
So when I was handling this startup Exceed VC fund, uh, we were having a lot of tough time. So such kind of investors are there, provided you are really eyeing on something which is good. One such thing is happening there in Germany because of slowdown. They have stopped, but such kind of things are there. So market fitment is very much important. Interaction with the team over there, the right kind of people, very important. And having funds like 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, when we convert it into Indian rupees, it becomes huge amount for us. But for them, 2, 3, 4, 5 million is really not that much. Because I was talking to someone in US and New York, and he's a CPA over there. So he is having a SPAC scheme. So under SPAC scheme, he was saying that here I'm looking for some companies, those who are having ticket size of 50 million. Now that was kind of thing, our startups will qualify to become an industry by then. So anyways, so these are the things where uh, money is there, but now people have become much wiser that where they want to put their money. Earlier in 2021 and 2020, afterwards, till 2022 beginning, oh, money was flowing in. Everybody was just becoming merrier. And in the beginning of 2022, they have started putting a kind of, breaks over there, check and balances. And now money is being spent wisely by the investors. Yeah, please.
Interesting. Vivek, what I want to understand is that I think it's a very interesting point that you kind of highlight, right? What are some of is there a financial support that you are offering within KDM? I'm specifically talking about early stage research and innovation, right, and startup that are there, right? While of course you're talking about a lot of these collaborations, of course that brings in a lot of last mile intelligence, right, for these guys to develop it, right? But you need that, say grant and aid support. There are a bunch of government schemes that have been there, right? State governments continue to help, right? So KDM, is there something that KDM extends also because you have an industry representation, right? So is there a pool of funds that, for example, has been built or brought in by the industry to enable and empower such innovation?
Notionally, yes. Yeah. Currently, we have those kind of pool of funds through various investors, but they have not kept it at one place. So if we take it as a collective, fund, it is huge. Policy wise, we are still trying to. You are mute. You're on mute, Ashu. Yeah. So so policy wise, we are trying to create a fund of funds which is specifically for startups in Karnataka. So if any startup which is registered here in Karnataka, they will get such kind of benefits. And not only in terms of cash, but in terms of, like, as I said, ease of doing business. So we are providing them some space, which is highly subsidized. So if I give you an example, the Beehive. So I have already discussed with Shesh Rao and team, because Beehive was also mentored by me. So they agreed to give such things at a very lesser price. Generally, they offer at 7,500 rupees per seat. So for KDM, they have subsidized it to 2,500 rupees. So
Okay.
the net outflow would be one third of what they are charging to the others.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one thing which is indirect benefit for the startups. Second would be the technology help. So we are already having tie-up with Triple ITP and IISC,
Mm-hmm.
where the labs can be used, and they can really, some validation can take place for them in technological terms if they want. Third is we are already having a big pool of mentors, those who are not going to charge anything to the startups, and they
Mm-hmm.
are going to help the startups in that manner, where they can be these are all intangible benefits which can be get converted into some kind of currencies later. But
Mm-hmm.
right now, these are all, and these are the things which any startup, most of the startups I have seen, if they are saying that, hey, I need funds, definitely they need funds, but because they don't want to infuse their own funds.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I have seen people, those who said, no, no, I don't want fund because I have to dilute my equity.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have to dilute my equity and tomorrow I know I'm having conviction that I'm going to make it much bigger, then
Mm-hmm.
this equity will be very heavy on me, right? So I'll bootstrap, I'll struggle, I'll slog, but I will reach to that level
Mm-hmm.
where I need to dilute minimum of the equity. If you are aware about, there is one company by name Ayurhythm.
Mm-hmm.
So they are taking rounds on LinkedIn now. So it was again mentored by me earlier, and they have raised fund through Shark Tank, Aman Gupta, and now they are in talks with Google. They are big company now, but they have diluted very minimum equity. So my suggestion to startup is, be possessive about what you carry. You carry only equity in your company and nothing
Mm-hmm.
else. So in the disguise of having some funds, say for example, there are so many Marwadi investors, they will
Mm-hmm.
invest in your company. There's no
Sure.
dearth of money, but what they will ask for 35 to 40% in your company.
Sure.
Now 35 to 40%, today we are in need, we will give. But
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow, when we say that, hey, I have become much bigger, and how to take back that equity, that will come at a very heavy cost.
Mm-hmm.
So from Karnataka government side, as I said, that KDM is a platform. KDM is trying to bring everything at one level, one place, with coordinating with the different government departments where the funding can be done, or any other assistance could be provided, as well as interfacing with the industry folks where these startups can get the entry. Because most important is, for any startup, if you ask Ashu, not to have the funds, only funds they can arrange from somewhere, because the POC doesn't take much. Till
Mm-hmm.
POC, incubators are going to help. Even this, Dr. Rai is helping a lot in that kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to getting the real customers,
Mm-hmm.
first one or two customers may come because they were your friends. But
Sure.
when it comes to commercial things, even your own brother will not give you the business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how to get them connected to the right kind of people over there in the industry? This GTM is very important for them. So we are focusing on GTM part of it
Mm-hmm.
also. So there are so many things. It's a very comprehensive scheme where we have already tied up with State Bank of India as the very first in the country, where State Bank of India has agreed to give loans up to 2 crore rupees to
Mm-hmm.
start up without having any collateral from them under KDM. So it
Interesting.
would be a KDM's back thing where they have to go through. Second would be, like, there are so many schemes. So we have created a startup grid. So startup grid is something where all the startup, those who are under that grid, they will get certain services free of cost for 1 year, completely 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be legal, whether it be GTM, whether it be anything. So a lot of things are being provided, and because of this Karnataka government's involvement, and people like Mr. Naidu and all these people are there. So a lot of investors are coming. So Prashant Prakash is driving a lot of things, who is from Excel Partners.
Mhm.
So such kind of things are happening. Chris Gopalakrishnan is there. Miss Sudha Murthy is there from
Mhm.
Cataraman, right? So all these people are there. But again, the caveat is they should qualify to really be there in front of them. If they are not presentable, if they think that, okay, I'm also one in the queue, I'll also get something as Prasad, that will
Mhm.
never happen.
Sure.
So,
Interesting.
so that is
Interesting.
what, yeah.
Vivek, we very briefly touched upon this, right? But I'd love you to take us to the selection, process that you have at KDIP, right, for these companies, because you're absolutely right. I think quality is something which is very important, and capital is best, right? I think to identify and to ensure that the right ones get, connected to, uh, such stakeholders, right? I think is something which requires for a lot of understanding and dissection, right, to see how it's going to play out, right? I'm sure you're doing a lot of that at KDM, at a process level. Would be great if you could, some of the key parameters that, for example, you look at, right? And I'm sure this is going to help understand many other people who could potentially be applying to you, right, here and otherwise. But it'd be great if you could break it down.
First, first parameter, which is very essential from KDM's point of view, is that company should be registered in Karnataka.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one parameter which is very, very important. If somebody is not meeting that parameter, then he'll not be able to take benefit of all the policies and all the support system which is existing over there.
Mm-hmm.
Second is what do they have? Because Karnataka uh, digital economy mission is all about digital things, which is based on technology.
Mm-hmm.
So whether they have some technology or they have something which is just based on general trading or production of certain other things like agri or something without help of any technology.
Mm-hmm.
Third would be what is the stage? So there would be a complete assessment of those companies and startups, seeing that where exactly they meet the criteria, the various criterias, and there'll be a panel who will decide that whether these startups are really qualifying or matured enough to enter in this kind of domain. If
Mm-hmm.
not, then what is to be done? They will be given suggestion by the panel, and so it will be done. Fourth would be that what kind of technology related competencies they have.
Mm-hmm.
So, do they have the right kind of understanding about the technology? Then there is a kind of questionnaire which will be decisive that where exactly they need help, because we do a kind of diagnosis and all such kind of exercise where we identify the what is the need. Sometimes when we say, hey, what are the two things which you want, the
Mm-hmm.
startup say, I need money and I want market. the
Mm-hmm.
the middle piece, I know that how to do it. The middle
Mm-hmm.
piece is known to many with due respect to a lot of startups over there. The middle piece is known to many, but access to fund and access to market, definitely it's a challenge. I'm having all the gyan with me, but if I don't know where to vent it out or offload it, in the right kind of forum. So,
Mm-hmm.
so these are very, very important aspects in general. In specific terms, there are certain processes which we follow, and
Mm-hmm.
the team, and these processes are exhaustive but not time consuming. Very
Mm-hmm.
exhaustive, very detailed, but not time consuming. If somebody is
Mm-hmm.
doing it, and if they have to have some kind of yes or no kind of reply, they'll
Mm-hmm.
get it within 2 days from my team. So they are all very active, and they all do such kind of things. So access to uh, such kind of things. First thing is that, yeah, startup should be registered in Karnataka, or
Mm-hmm.
if there is any such kind of scheme which is prevailing there in MP or UP or Vidarbha, or Maharashtra, because
Mm-hmm.
these are the neighboring states for startups from MP. They
Mm-hmm.
can also check for that. So there are a couple of chapters. Those who are already there with us as partners, like Thai is partner with us.
Mm-hmm.
So the Indus entrepreneur. right? So I was talking to Dr. Rai just a couple of days back, and I told him that I have met a very high level person, and he has shown interest in becoming part of the startup grid.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe uh, off the grid, because he's based out of Indore. So such kind of people can be made available from click point of view. I'm talking
Sure.
about click point of view. But from Karnataka point of view, if I say, then they have to be there in Karnataka, registered in Karnataka, operating from Karnataka.
Super. Vivek, I think a phenomenal conversation, right? We're moving towards the end of the conversation. I think,
Yeah.
I think such conversations, we got to have them in phases, right? It's just too difficult to cover. I think there's just so much ground, right?
Yeah.
And I think it needs to happen, in parts, right, where we can actually deep down. But I think this has been an absolutely spectacular macro conversation, right? Would love to understand, Vivek, what are the next 2 3 years like, right? I think we're out of the woods now. The world is getting back to normal. What are the milestones that you've set for yourself? I mean, when I look at the KDM, for example, the objectives that you've set for each of the 4 or 5, priorities segments that you've identified. I think it's a lot about employment creation, right? It's about bringing a lot of international players into India and so on and so forth, right? So what are the next 2 2.5 years like, right?
Yeah, it's going to be very, very demanding, honestly, because our leaders and leaders, when I'm saying leaders, not the political leaders, I'm talking about the team here. Uh, all of them, they are very aspirational
Mhm,
in approach. So the aspirational goals are much bigger than your ambitious goals.
mhm, mhm.
So we have the goals, which are larger than the life kind of thing, which are appearing over there.
Sure.
Since aspiration is there, so aspiration really needs to leads to the need of innovation. So
Mhm.
we have some innovative way of doing the things. Then sometimes God is also great. I should not use
God
this
is
word,
always
but
great.
yes,
God is always great.
yeah. So God is great. So that is how this our semiconductor fab has come at the right time when it was announced, and in May this year it was announced, and they have already made that investment announcement of this, and now display fab is also happening. So aspirational goals about semiconductor fab is very much on target.
Mhm.
So till March, we have certain numbers which I cannot disclose, but we are working in a very corporate manner. So we have all those numbers in place, and mapping to those numbers, there are teams those who are working, and overall responsibility will be on CEO, chairman, additional chief secretary, and managing director of KITS. So these people are involved. Dr. Ashwath Narayan, who happens to be the minister of ITBT and electronics as well as higher education, he is also involved very closely. Even today morning,
Mhm.
I'm sitting here, but they are in Mangalore, so it's Manipal, and they were doing all the walkathon and all at 6 o'clock in the morning. Minister is also there. So I skipped this time. I attended last two, but I skipped this one.
Mhm.
So all these aspirational goals that are going to be driven under each vertical, it is
Mhm.
very much monitored. And
Sure.
we are seeing that where the deviation is coming. Coming to absolute numbers for startups, we are already having some 13,000 startups in the grid.
Mhm.
Sorry, not in the grid, in the whole system in Karnataka. We want to push it to 14,000 startups by end of this year. So
Mhm.
right now we are sitting on 13,000, and we started around some 11,500 something.
Mhm.
So market is opening up. People are enthusiastic, but they are also having that kind of doubt due to this international scenario which is
Mhm.
taking place. Plus, I have seen a lot of guys who are writing on LinkedIn to someone, "Hey, I'm in need of money. I need seed funding. I need this."
Mhm.
So it was actually a very devastating thing for me that why these people are struggling. They don't have mentors. If they are having the right kind of mentors, then they will not go in that kind of direction. So we are trying to help the startup ecosystem by providing right kind of mentors. So that is again very aspirational, where we have kept some numbers for such kind of mentors in each area: business modeling, GTM, financial modeling, and all those capitals have been decided, discussed, and 5 or 6 categories have been created, which is very essential from any playbook point of view. If you see that, startup playbook, so you'll see such kind of things. So these are the things which are there specifically from the startup side. GCCs, we have already got a lot of commitments, and we are going to really supersede what we have targeted for. So this year, but next 2.5 years, when you ask, initially हमारे हिंदी में कहावत बोलते हैं ना कि नया मुल्ला प्याज ज्यादा खाता है. तो ठीक है, तो शुरू शुरू में तो ये सब चीज चलती रहेगी. उसके बाद में how it has to be, put on such kind of fast track things where the momentum is created, and now the speed has to be gained.
Mhm.
So next 2.5 years, irrespective of what's happening in international markets,
Mhm.
we are very much clear. Like I had a detailed discussion with EU Innovation Center, which is there. So Julian came from Germany. Then we had a very detailed discussion with Israel people. So 3 delegations from Israel were there. Germany, we
Mhm.
were having 2 delegations, those who had very detailed discussions. USA, we were having very good discussions with a couple of the SIA and all. So all
Mhm.
these things are happening. So next 2.5 year, Ashu, as you asked, it has to be at least made 3 times what we are doing for this year. So this year it was aspirational. After 3 years, it will be more devotional, I should say.
Oh, interesting. Interesting, Vivek. No, I think with the leadership that you have, I think what you've been able to sort of achieve at KDM has been absolutely spectacular, right? I think the fact that I think many initiatives have tried this, right? Many states have tried this, right? Where they've tried to sort of bring in the industry together. It becomes a divided house beyond a point, right? I think barring just about a few. I think it's been a difficult one, right? And I think what you demonstrated, I think, is possibly like a playbook, right? That a lot of others can now kind of refer to. And I think that's very very interesting. Vivek, any message that you want to give out to? I'm sure there are many entrepreneurs and possibly a couple of policymakers as well. Who are going to be watching this right now or beyond. What is a suggestion or any input advice that you would want to give at as we close or as we come close to the session,
Yeah.
or close to the closure of the session? Right?
No,
What
thank
would
you so much for giving me this opportunity. I'm just typing my mail ID in the comment box so that people can really reach out to me. This,
uh-huh.
I'm not putting up my spectacles, so if there's anything, then you can check with Dr. Roy. Okay, I've just said it. Okay, so first of all, as you said, Ashu, very correctly, what is that which I want to share with all out of my experience? Uh, you have to learn where you have to be rigid and where you have to be flexible. That is
Correct.
one thing which is lacking in all the entrepreneurs. I'm not talking about capital. I'm not talking about GTM. I'm not talking
Correct.
about anything. I'm talking about the personality trait of a person and acceptability. So when we
Mhm.
give a very solid try and we are hit hard and we couldn't really conquer that, what we try to do, we try to give it with much vigor, much force.
Mhm.
We have to understand, we have to take a pause. As an entrepreneur, we have to take a pause and we have to understand, I have given, I think, the adequate force. I need not to put more force or less force, but I have given adequate thanks over there. Why didn't the thing work for me? That you have to contemplate. So be flexible. If someone who is a well-wisher of yours and he's trying to give you some kind of advice, take that advice, contemplate, introspect, and then whether you want to leave it or take it. It's like चाय की पत्ती. चाय की पत्ती को हम चाय बनाने में यूज करते हैं, निकाल लेते हैं सब कुछ, बाद में चाय की फेंक देते हैं पत्ती को. पत्ती नहीं रहती हमारे पास में, चाय रहती है. That is how you have to take the essence of the whole thing from a person who is a well-wisher. So lot many times these startups, they are in that kind of they put the blinders and they look in one direction. नहीं सर मुझे बाकी कुछ नहीं सुनना, मुझे सिर्फ पैसे चाहिए. पैसे चाहिए तो यार तुम पैसे लगाओगे किधर? इसमें लगाना है, उसमें लगाना है, उसमें लगाना है, एंड देन आपके सामने में जो उनका बिजनेस मॉडल आता है, इन्वेस्टमेंट टीम वहां पे डायरेक्टली फर्स्ट 2-3 स्लाइड्स में ही दे विल जस्ट से नो. So you have to be flexible, you have to listen to mentors, you have to look into such kind of aspects. Don't be rigid. That is one thing which I want to make a submission. because I'm helping out right now also a lot of startups in my capacity. Even I'm dealing with startups from all over world. A lot of people I have seen, यार क्या कर रहे हैं ये लोग, क्यों कर रहे हैं, क्या इनको दिख नहीं रहा है कि ये किस डायरेक्शन में जा रहे हैं? यार कम से कम मुझसे पूछ ले, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू चार्ज एनीथिंग टू देम, एटलीस्ट आई विल बी अ वेल विशर फॉर देम. बट अगर वो नहीं करते हैं, चोट खाने के बाद वापस आते हैं, सर अब क्या करना है? There's one company, I don't shy off in calling name of that company also, but I'll not call name because so this company is in touch with me. They're into industrial IoT. They have done initial validation. They have got all the good things, some initial traction also. Because of this global slowdown, this guy has come back to me. विवेक जी अब क्या करना है? मैंने कहा अब कुछ नहीं करना है, अब आप वेट एंड वॉच करो, कुछ नहीं हो सकता. जब मैंने कुछ चीजें, बिकॉज एवरीथिंग हैज गॉट सम स्वीट टाइमिंग, इफ यू डोंट डू इट एट दैट टाइम, द सेम थिंग, आप कल का दूध, बासी दूध आज नहीं पी सकते कि उतना ही फ्रेश लगेगा अपने को. तो कहीं ना कहीं ये सारी चीजें हैं जहां मैं सारी स्टार्टअप्स को बस एक ही मैसेज देना चाहूंगा, आप लोग सब फ्लेक्सिबल हो, रिजिडिटी रखो, अपने कन्विक्शन में रखो, अपने इरादों में रखो, अपने अप्रोच में रखो, लेकिन कम से कम जो आपका वेलविशर है उसके लिए आप फ्लेक्सिबल रहो, एक्सेप्टेबल रहो. एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी कैन लीड टू वंडर्स, rigidity can lead to some kind of very grave failures. So this is the message which I want to give.
Super. I think Vivek, what a I think all of us want to communicate this, right? I think, but I particularly like how you put it out. I think it's important to seek help, right, in the process. That's the most important, right? I think very impressed with the work that you're doing at Kedem, Vivek. And I think what's particularly heartening is I think this willingness to help, right, which is just so much more important. I think the way I look at it is that if you can actually save a company from going down that path of failure, I think everything else then starts to perform better. I think that's essentially what you were alluding to, right, in a certain common way. I think that mentoring is important, right? I think that handholding is important. While of course all of that infrastructure comes together, but I think eventually there has to be efficiency which has to be brought to the model, right? And I think the sensitivity brings that in, right? Vivek, this has been an absolutely spectacular conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time out on a Saturday morning, right? We wish you all the very best at Kirim and in your personal capacity, right? For all the good work and mentorship that you've been providing to all these startups. We need many more Vivek Saxenas, right?
Oh, thank you so much. Obliged.
Healthy, fledgling ecosystem in the country. We wish you all the very best. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much, Ashu, and thanks, Dr. Rai, for giving me this opportunity to address. Anybody can feel free to write an email to me if there is anything which they want to have, or they can drop me a message on my LinkedIn. Generally, I reply each and every message, so I don't keep the things pending with me, though it's very hectic for me also. But feel free, because my heart, as Ashu said, a willingness to help, right? So that willingness to help is always there, and I want to help as many as I could. And thanks a lot for being a wonderful audience and a wonderful host, Ashu. You have been a wonderful host. We'll connect some other time for so many other topics, because there are so many things which we could have discussed today, and the 8 hours or 10 hours time would have been fallen short for us. So thanks a lot, and we'll catch up. Bye bye. Thank you, Dr. Rai. Thank you.
Thank you, Rag.
Thank you, Ashu sir.